Hello and welcome back to the program. Well, as I mentioned before the break, we are now joined by Ray Palmer with Pensacola Sports. He's going to talk to us about Pensacola Sports, how they've responded to the pandemic, and then, of course, how they're going to move forward with all their events because, of course, staying active during this time and most people are still working from home or in a lockdown type situation and not as many things going on, you still need to stay active. You still need to make sure you're doing stuff. So they're still finding some creative ways to host some of their events through the latter half of the year. So Ray, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thanks, Cam. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is our first virtual attempt at the show, so hopefully everything will go well. We've done well so far, so I do appreciate you, letting us into your home and allowing us the opportunity to talk to you about Pensacola Sports. So let's rewind back to mid-March when everything kind of seemed to happen all at once with the pandemic. Tell me a little bit about how Pensacola Sports was impacted and what you guys had to do with the pandemic and the lockdown and everything that took place.
Sure. Thanks, Cam. It's been, as for all of us, it's been an incredible experience as we've gone through all this. It initially started with, okay, well, we'll just push a few events back. We'll postpone a few events. We have postponed a few, for a month. And then it was like, well, let's postpone it. Let's be more aggressive as the pandemic grew. Let's postpone it from April events, late March, April events, May events to the fall. And here we are in, mid-August, and the fall events are very much in jeopardy of happening as they were originally planned. And so we're learning about virtual, i.e. here we are right now doing when you asked me to be on the show, and then I realized that was going to be a virtual show. I thought, wow, okay, I guess I should have known that that's what it was going to be. So we're learning about all of those things. I think it's been interesting. You mentioned just the ability to stay active. Sports like golf, who we're struggling, and the reality is the trending of golf has not been great over the years, although it's kind of stabilized. It's seeing a increase of activity. You're a fisherman. Fishing has definitely taken up because it's something that's very easily done with social distancing. So we're seeing people trend to these little more individual type sports, away from some of the team things, especially to fill voids. Read every day about organizations, the youth baseball and football and things like that the kids are now going to the golf course and taking up some of that time to have some activity. And of course, golf is loving it, and some of the team sports are going, ooh, I hope we get these kids back. But Pensacola Sports we look at it every day. We're involved with the state associations and the national associations, trying to learn about what's going on and how are we going to safely get back into the world to put these events on. Ours are going virtual for sure, at least a component. Our runs are going to be either completely virtual or have a virtual component.
It's interesting because, like you said, you were able to postpone several of the events, or at least that was the plan when it first started in March. And things kind of settled down a little bit in May and June, and you were able to host the Pensacola Bud Light Fishing Rodeo, which I know was another great success, although, it looked a little different, but you were able to host that event. Like you said, fishing and is such it can be a social distancing activity. But as things picked up again, of course, we all thought everything was getting better. Well, it starts to pick up again. So you guys have had to pivot again. So, use the popular term right now. So you mentioned some of the events going virtual. So as you've had to change plans again going into the fall, I know the Bayou Hills Run is coming up and other activities towards the end of the year. Tell us what you're doing with those, and then tell us how people can get involved, how they can register, how they can participate.
Well, the Bayous Hills Run's a great example. It's Labor Day, or it was Labor Day. It was going to be. It's a long running, very popular event that was supposed to be in April. That we moved to Labor Day. We came up with a completely new concept. We're going to recognize and make it a Labor Day event, and by recognizing the healthcare professionals this year, and each year we'll do something different. PensacolaSports.org is how you get signed up for the virtual event. We're making it a little bit different than many of the virtual events because we're going to have much more similar, other than the race itself. We're still going to have shirts, and which are going to be scrubs, by the way, this year in honor of the healthcare professionals. So I hope the participants will enjoy that. But PensacolaSports.org is still moving forward. We're in the business of event planning. Our philosophy is we have to keep planning as if all these events are going to happen until somebody tells us no. And of course, the cities and the communities are challenged with allowing permits for large groups, and we're not getting those. But we're planning as if they are. Easier to cancel than it is to go, oh my, wow, I wish we had planned and had done that event. We're looking at maybe doing a second fishing tournament.
You know what, and you mentioned that, I forgot to mention too, the virtual fishing tournament that you guys had in the spring was a creative idea that you guys were able to bring people into that activity, and into Pensacola Sports. So, that was definitely a clever idea that you guys came up with, and then it rolled right into the Bud Light Fishing Rodeo.
Yeah, Reeling in America, and
Yeah.
we did that. Touched about 800,000 people with it, and so it was really a neat idea.
Yeah, neat idea, and it was one that you could reel in America. You didn't have to live in Pensacola or the Gulf Coast to do it. Anybody across the country could do it. And it was cool to see the pictures popping up on social media of what people were catching. Ray, we got about a minute left, but tell us, is there anything else Pensacola Sports has planned for the end of the year? Anything that people need to know or a takeaway that you can give them?
Well, we just encourage people to get out there and stay active. And again, Pensacola Sports is still moving forward. We're going to get through this. Tourism's tough. Event business is tough. Those are the two things we focus on. But, we're a very positive organization, and we believe that the community, we still make a good impact on the community. We hope people will come get involved. We're going to be back in business full bore as soon as they give us a green light to go.
And hopefully that green light will be coming very soon. Ray, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Always appreciate being there.
And thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next month virtually as we take another look across the Gulf Coast.